Last night, while you were asleep, your body tried to do something for you 3 or 4 separate times. You were not awake for any of it. Somewhere between 3 and 5 erections, each lasting 10 to 25 minutes, each arriving alongside a stretch of dreaming sleep. Men have them from boyhood into old age. Most of men only ever notice the last one because it's sometimes still there when the alarm goes off. And they have nothing to do with wanting anything. That's the part worth slowing down for. Those nighttime erections are maintenance. They are the only hours in the 24 when that tissue gets a long, unhurried soak in oxygen-rich blood. Researchers have linked the loss of them to the tissue slowly stiffening and losing its ability to hold blood at all. There's a reason a man who leaves a car standing in the garage all winter gets told to start it every couple of weeks. Nothing is wrong with the car. It just does badly when nothing moves through it for months. Your body books that appointment for itself every single night. After 60, more and more men quietly stop keeping it. So, let me answer the question in the title straight away because I'd rather spend our time on the part that decides whether it works. The food is watermelon, and specifically the pale part you have been throwing in the bin your whole life. The white rind, gram for gram, carries roughly 1.5 times the L-citrulline of the sweet red flesh. The amino acid is even named after the fruit. Citrulus is the Latin for watermelon, and citrulline was pulled out of it in a laboratory back in 1914. One honest correction, though, because you'll see this exaggerated everywhere. Per bite the rind wins, but you eat far more flesh than rind, so across a whole serving the red part still delivers more. Don't swap one for the other. Just stop discarding half your supply. Now, the part that matters more than the food. You could eat that watermelon at 11 in the morning and get almost none of the benefit we are discussing. The problem isn't that your body lacks raw material during the day. The problem is a window that opens after you fall asleep and closes before you wake, and most men eat straight through it without knowing it exists. Your blood pressure is supposed to fall while you sleep 10–20% below your daytime numbers. That fall is normal and healthy, and it reaches its lowest point in the small hours, right in the same stretch where your dreaming sleep is longest and those maintenance erections are meant to be doing their work. So demand peaks at the exact hour supply bottoms out. And what decides whether your vessels can open wide enough to bridge that gap is a gas your body makes on the spot, called nitric oxide. Not stored. Made, used within seconds, and made again. Which is why what you ate at breakfast has very little say in what happens at 3 in the morning. L-citrulline is one of the raw materials your body uses to make it, and it has a peculiar advantage that is the entire reason I'm talking about it rather than the more famous one. You've probably heard of L-arginine, sold in every supplement aisle, and it's what your body actually converts into nitric oxide. The trouble is that swallowed arginine is largely broken down in your gut and liver before it reaches your bloodstream. You buy a gram, your vessels see a fraction. Citrulline goes a long way round. It passes through untouched, travels to your kidneys, and is converted into arginine there, past the gate that was destroying it. Which is why taking citrulline by mouth raises your blood arginine more reliably than taking arginine does. In a trial published in the journal Urology, men with mild erectile difficulty took 1.5 grams of L-citrulline daily for a month. Half of them moved up a full grade on the standard hardness scale, firm enough for penetration became fully rigid. Small study, 24 men, and I'll come back to what that dose means for a plate of food rather than a capsule. But the direction is real. Now let me connect this to your prostate. Most men assume the bedroom and the bathroom are separate departments. They're not. And there's a piece of everyday medical practice that proves it rather neatly. Tadalafil, the drug most people know as Cialis, was approved back in 2011, not only for erections, but for the urinary symptoms of an enlarged prostate. A low daily dose, same tablet, 2 jobs. Sit with what that means. A medicine that works purely by keeping nitric oxide signaling switched on for longer also measurably improves how men empty their bladders. It softens the tone in the smooth muscle around the bladder neck and inside the prostate itself. That muscle is not gland tissue, and it does not care how big your prostate is. It grips or it lets go, depending on the signal it receives. So when men tell me their stream is weaker on some days than others, without the gland having changed at all, that's the signal varying, not the tissue. And the same pathway is the one your nighttime erections depend on. One supply, two departments both complaining when it runs low. Right? So what does this look like on an actual evening? Start about 3 hours before bed with the meal itself. A heavy, fatty, late dinner measurably blunts how well your vessels open for hours afterwards. You're not doing anything wrong by eating dinner. You're doing wrong by eating a large, greasy one at 9 o'clock and lying down on it. Chickpeas earn their place at that meal. Legumes carry a little citrulline, though I'll not pretend it's much. What they genuinely bring is potassium and magnesium, around 470 milligrams of potassium in a cup and close to 80 of magnesium. Potassium pushes back against the vessel tightening effect of salt. Magnesium helps smooth muscle relax. Both are working on the same tone we just discussed. Warm them with a spoon of olive oil and rinse tinned ones properly. The liquid they sit in is salted, and salt works against everything else here. Then, around 90 minutes before you go up, a small handful of walnuts and a scattering of pumpkin seeds. I'm pairing those deliberately. Pumpkin seeds are unusually rich in arginine, and pumpkin flesh, the same plant family as watermelon, carries citrulline. Feeding your body both ends of that chain together raise nitric oxide markers more than either one alone. 7 to 10 walnut halves and a tablespoon of seeds is plenty. Raw, unsalted, kept in the fridge because walnut fats turn rancid faster than most, and rancid fat is the opposite of what you want. About an hour before bed is when the watermelon goes in. 2 cups of flesh with some rind blended in, or juiced together. Citrulline from watermelon juice shows up in the bloodstream inside an hour, which is why that timing is not arbitrary. If watermelon is out of season, cantaloupe is the sensible substitute. Same family, comparable citrulline, and a cup carries better than 400 milligrams of potassium for around 50 calories. And if your blood sugar is a concern, cucumber is your answer instead. Same family, same amino acid, under 2 grams of sugar a cup against 9 in the watermelon. Eat it unpeeled. The skin and the flesh just beneath it hold the most citrulline, so peeling one for this purpose throws away the best of it. Garlic is the odd one out. Its citrulline content is modest. It earns a place because crushed raw garlic prompts your vessel lining to make nitric oxide by a separate route, and because pooled trial data has it lowering systolic pressure by 4 to 5 points. Crush 2 cloves and leave them on the board for 10 minutes before they go near heat. That wait is not fussiness. The compound you want doesn't exist at the moment of crushing. An enzyme has to build it, and a hot pan destroys most of it before it forms. Before we go on, tell me what time you finished eating last night. Just the time. 9:15, 7 o'clock. Whatever it honestly was. The difference between men who get something out of this and men who get nothing is rarely which food they picked. It's the gap they left between the last mouthful and the pillow. Now, what is happening while you are asleep, and why any of this is worth the bother? You go up around 11, and over the next hour or two, your pressure begins its descent. Your first proper stretch of dreaming sleep arrives about 90 minutes in, and with it the first of the night's erections, whether or not you dream about anything of the kind. Then again, roughly every 90 minutes, each episode a little longer than the last. By the small hours, you're in the longest dreaming stretches of the night and at the lowest circulatory point of your entire day. That's the hour that decides things. That's because that tissue either gets its oxygen or it does not, and either got it 365 times this year or 40. Those same low-flow hours are when the muscle around your bladder neck is under the least relaxing influence, which is worth knowing if you have wondered why the 2 in the morning trip is so reliably the worst one. The hardest to start. The one you're least sure you finished. Before you change anything about your evening, I need you to hear the cautions. If you take nitrates for angina, nitroglycerin, isosorbide, a spray or a patch, speak to your doctor before adding concentrated citrulline in any form. Nitrates and citrulline push on the same pathway from 2 directions, and stacking them can drop your blood pressure further and faster than is safe. Whole watermelon in ordinary portions is a food, not a drug. Your doctor should still know what you've started. The same conversation applies if you take Viagra, Cialis, or anything in that family, and if you're on blood pressure medication generally. Not because it's forbidden, because dizziness on standing is what puts a man of 70 on his bathroom floor at 2 in the morning, and that's a far worse outcome than a weak stream. If you have kidney disease, the potassium here is a genuine concern rather than a benefit. Chickpeas, cantaloupe, and watermelon are all high in it, and damaged kidneys cannot clear it properly. Ask before you increase any of them. If you take warfarin or another blood thinner, raw garlic in daily quantity is a real interaction. And this one matters most. If your erections faded over a matter of weeks or months rather than gradually over years, stop and make an appointment. A rapid change in the smallest vessels is one of the earliest signals we have of trouble in the larger ones. Men with this pattern carry a meaningfully raised risk of a cardiac event in the years that follow. Now, how will you know whether any of this is doing anything? For the next 7 mornings, before you get out of bed and before your feet touch the floor, notice one thing. Was there anything there on waking, or was there nothing? Not the quality of it, present or absent. Keep a small tally on the pad by the bed, a tick or a dash, nothing more. Do a week of that now before you change anything, and another week after a month of evenings. You're establishing whether the machinery is running at all. Tissue that still produces those episodes overnight is tissue whose blood supply and nerve signaling are broadly intact, which is genuinely reassuring and points the difficulty somewhere else entirely. Consistently, nothing, week after week, is worth showing to your doctor because it separates the causes that respond to food from the ones needing proper investigation. On the timeline, give it 4 to 6 weeks of ordinary evenings, not perfect ones. And let me be straight about what food can and cannot do. That urology trial used 1.5 grams of concentrated citrulline daily. 2 generous cups of watermelon get you somewhere around 1 gram on a good day with a ripe fruit. Real food puts you in the neighborhood. It does not always get you to the address. What real food does do is arrive with potassium, magnesium, vitamin C, and fiber, none of which comes in a capsule and all of which works on the same vessels from other angles. That's why I would rather you ate the fruit than bought the powder. But a bowl of melon is not a prescription. If you take one thing from the last quarter of an hour, let it be this. Move your last real meal earlier, finish eating 3 hours before you lie down, and put the citrulline, the watermelon, the cucumber, the melon, whichever suits your sugar, in that final hour on a stomach that's not still working on a dinner. I'd like to leave you with the thought I started with. Those 3 or 4 appointments your body keeps every night are not a leftover from being young. They are maintenance, still scheduled, still trying to run. Most of what we've talked about today is simply getting out of their way. Sleep well tonight. Your body has work to do.